I want to give a warm greeting to my brother from Tallahassee, Florida, Mr. Dante Bonner. Welcome to you.
Good morning. And out of most love, I can't stand you right now, Robert.
Uh-oh.
I cannot stand you right now.
Come on now, brother.
Oh, my God. What you have just dropped on, I ain't talking to nobody else but me.
Mm-hmm.
You have basically just explained what I have gone through this week, and particularly in the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm punched in the gut on how do you sit with individuals knowing their hurt and their pain and not allowing it to affect you. And I have been sitting with this heaviness for the last 2 days until the minute you just said that, even though I've been processing and trying to pray, and because of a relationship, a friendship, and now you have just given me a big old key. Wow.
Ain't God good? Thank God. And I received too, brother.
At the same time,
I received too.
I'm like, wow, because part of my mission that I have developed learning is I'm a bridge builder.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have a heart for people to try to bring people together, I have been upset about certain situations that unfortunately did not turn in the manner in which I thought it first to kind of come together, maybe some kind of resolution in an abstract way, but dealing with one specific individual. Now the relationships are now severed.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, it may come together, but it has affected me very deeply. And you're just saying in terms of being a life coach, which I never really thought about, but the fact of me doing my service, trying to build that bridge, that I cannot let that infect me.
Mm-hmm.
And cause me and my words. So that was just a very sobering thought and a wake-up call to be more mindful, and I've got to learn how to release it and to not allow it to get in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that revelation that you've now given, that I now will be digesting and processing, and now my energy, I can feel it shifting already. And I don't feel heavy like I did just a few minutes before you doing this. So, whew.
Exhale, brother. The power of a willing vessel. If we stay open to God, God will use us in powerful ways. Anything else you want to, because you got us in a beautiful space. Anything else you want to say about any of that? It's yours.
I just want to encourage people to love hard and use your gifts wisely, but learn your limitations and work on your limitations and be open. No matter how much you think you're open, continue to be open, because I think we can have a false sense of thinking we're open, but when we're exposed or shown things that we don't like and we don't want to receive, we have to question ourselves as, why am I resistant to that? But you got to be open to ask that question, because if you're closed off, then you really won't see that you may fall into your own trap, even though you're thinking traps are being set before you, which is possible. But how much of it did you really contribute, and being honest with yourself with that. So be open to teaching, be open to the change, and they'll also be willing to let go of the hurt and pain instead of trying to use it as a crutch because you've been using it as an excuse for so long. And then while assisting people learn, as Robert was saying, how to not let it affect you in the midst of you trying to help.
When you go home, brother, particularly over the last couple of days as you've been going through this experience, when you go home and sit in your favorite chair and take off your hard shoes that you've been walking around in all day and lean back for a second and think about all the things that are going on, and it just drops into the pit of your heart, what are those moments like for you?
Questioning myself, like, could I have done more? What did I do? Because I have this save people heart, you know, even though it's nothing that I have done or could have done concerning that, because I don't like to see people hurt unnecessarily. So it's processing, and I get into that space on how do I get through this, and then I'm reminded that, you know, one, it's not my battle, and so to learn how to be prayerful and allow God to handle the situation. And then something that I have been meditating on for the last couple of days is, because I may pray for a specific outcome, does not mean that God has not heard my prayer. It just means that the expectation that I thought of the result may not necessarily be that result, but it is the necessary result, and learning how to accept that.
What you just said, brother, we could spend weeks on what you just said. Praying for a specific result is tricky, wiki.
Right.
It's tricky because we know how we need it to be met, but we don't really know how it's going to be met. What is that old song? And somebody help me. I never promised you a rose garden. See, we would never promise that we wouldn't go through the fire. No, I can't find that promise that you'll never go through the fire. The promise that I find is I'll bring you out of the fire and not a hair will be singed. That's the promise that I found. So we going through the fire. If you human, you going through the fire.
You go through the fire and you try to learn the lessons. And unfortunately, some of the lessons that we are learning, there's still a result from that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about the show in terms of cause and effect, in terms of there's certain decisions that we may make that we'll learn a lesson from it, and we still may have to go through the consequences, good or bad, of that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we can't always get saved, but maybe the pain won't be as much because we're getting the lesson from that. So we just, okay, let me brace myself and go through it. And that's a maturity level that we all have to grow to get to. And just these little things that we're experiencing as you're evolving and growing, and the more you expound, the more you're revealing how much you do need to learn, how much you do need to grow. And like I said, that nugget you just brought, I mean, there's such a lifting, and I just appreciate it.
Praise God, brother. I receive it, and I thank you for being here for 10 years nearly, definitely 10 seasons, unpacking your soul in the beautiful way that you do each week. You bring an ingredient that no one else at this table brings. It's what they call in the culinary world umami. U-M-A-M-I, umami. And umami is that flavor that you just can't, it's not necessarily an ingredient, it's just something that if it ain't there, you know it ain't there. And that's what you bring, brother. You understand? Umami.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I said, this has been a very challenging week for me, and just the decisions of various different people kind of expose who you are, who your character is, and the faultiness or the wholeness of an individual affects how you do things. If you're doing something unethical or immoral and you have nothing in you that tells you shouldn't be doing this, and you just going full steam ahead, then there's something wrong, something is broken, and you got to acknowledge the fact that something is broken for you to repair it. But at some point, we may have had that conscience that we actually listen to, like, man, you shouldn't do it like that, or maybe you need to stop, or that's the wrong thing to do. And we kind of listened to it and we kind of followed it. But we're getting to a place where that is eroding, that there is no conscious thought, that I can treat you maliciously and not lose any sleep or not lose any heart. And this is just a symptom of what's going on, not just my personal sphere, but also what's going on in the country and in the world. And that's why when you gave what you said to me this morning, it just, okay.
Remember earlier, Dante, when you were in the chair with your hard shoes off and leaning back into a heavy day that you've had in the last 2 days, as you get up out of that chair and move past a mirror in one of those rooms in your house and you look at yourself in the mirror, when you ask yourself, is my conscience clear? What is the answer to that question?
Yes.
There you go.
Because ain't that what it's all about?
That's right.
Is my conscience clear?
That's right.
Asking myself that question in regard to some of the things that I've learned this week and the powerful teachers that taught them, I can say to myself, Robert, your conscience is clear, brother. Your conscience is clear. Did I do, did I say, did I be who I was supposed to be with this soul that I have caught in the doing of my ministry? And my answer is my conscience is clear. So I move on with peace.
Yeah.
Because my conscience
Yeah.
is clear. So I received that word from you as a breadcrumb on my path. Very important. My conscience is clear.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that being said, what it reaffirmed for me is if my conscience is clear, it doesn't matter what the noise is around me or what the violence is around me.
Come on, brother.
Because I'm anchored. I said what I've said. I've done what I've done. I stand in that. And I'm good with that. Now, it may cause a lot of noise around me, but I can't allow that noise to affect or make me second guess, well, maybe should I have done this and all that kind of stuff. I can't do that. Is my conscience clear?
Because your conscience is clear, you can live with the wake that the choice caused. I can live with that wake because my conscience is clear.
Right.
Exactly.
you've just dropped something. I have to remember. Oftentimes when we're asking ourselves about, did I do this right, which, I have a tendency to ask myself a lot, I have to remember to ask my conscience and not the tangible. We oftentimes look for outside sources to give us the answer about things that are actually internal. The question we should be asking is an internal question. Is my conscience clear?
That's right.
That I have done all that I can do and or been all that I can be. That is truly, truly a nugget that I hope people understand, that it is definitely a part of that inside voice versus asking the outside.
Well, let's talk about the inside voice, because that's a fantastic place that you brought us to. And I really think this is important, brothers and sisters, for you to, and for me to, develop the art of speaking to yourself. This is back to being impeccable with your word. Speak to yourself. See, in the Matrix, we're taught that if you talk to yourself, what's wrong with you? Are you talking to yourself? Who better to talk to than yourself? And the science of that is, if I may, that your eyes, your body parts, your liver, your pancreas, particularly places that are showing you that there's something wrong there, you better start talking to them. You better start telling them that you love them. You better start talking to your teeth and your eyes and your hair and your stomach and your tail. You better talk to your body, because if you don't, they will decay around you. You better use your word to love yourself. Talk to yourself, brothers and sisters. Tell you love you.
That's right.
Tell your eyes, I'm sorry the way I've treated you, but we're going to work on this. We're going to get better. Tell your pancreas, I'm sorry I love chocolate cake, causing you not to be able to create insulin the way that you need to create. I'm sorry for that. We're going to do better. I'm going to love you more than I've loved you in days past. Talk to yourself.
Yeah.
All right, Brother Dante, any final thoughts from you, brother, on anything that's gone down here today, or anything that you just want to say that you haven't been able to express in the last 2.5 hours?
I don't think anything left to be said. I think it's just a time of absorbing. The best thing I could say, Robert, again, thank you.
You're welcome, brother. I love you. I appreciate you. I respect you. I'm glad you're here every week. And our journey is a beautiful blessing in my life and in my soul space. So it's a beautiful thing when we have these moments, because then we get a lesson from the Creator about why he's yoked us together. See, we don't always know that. We just know what we know in the Matrix. But in moments like this, we know that we are here to help and to heal one another. That's why God put us together, to help and to heal one another.
Don't look for love from nobody. Find yourself to love. Find yourself to love from nobody. Find yourself to love.